Okay, since we've already done a Things You Missed video for Season 1 of Demon Slayer, it just made sense to do it for the rest of the anime. So I'll tell you 23 things you probably missed in the second season. 1. When Tanjiro and his friends get onto the train in the Mugen Train arc, I noticed that this girl looked absurdly similar to human Nezuko. Even her outfit is almost the same. 2. In the opening, right after Tanjiro is shown slaying some Enmu's flesh, we see Rengoku letting a slight smirk come out of his mouth. For me, this shows how much he believes in the trio. He just smirks and keeps fighting. I gotta admit that it warmed up my heart when I saw it the first time, after knowing everything that happens in this arc. 3. Both the opening and the ending of the episodes in the Mugen Train arc begin with the sun setting. But honestly, I like the one from the ending more because it is more colorful, almost as bright as Rengoku's hair. 4. In the first beat of the opening song of the Entertainment District arc, we see the Kyojiro's handguard that Senjiro, Rengoku's little brother, gave to Tanjiro. And right after that, we see Tanjiro holding it against his chest. For me, that's the way the creators honor him somehow. And who else other than Tanjiro to do it, since he was really touched by Kyojiro's words and way of thinking. 5. And that is not the only evidence we see of the importance of the flame Hashira for Tanjiro. If I say, set your heart ablaze, it might ring a bell to most of you, but just in case it didn't, this is what Rengoku says to himself while fighting Akaza.
Set your heart ablaze.
And then to Tanjiro in his last words.
Set your heart ablaze.
What hit me was that Tanjiro remembers it when fighting with Daki, and when he does, you can hear Rengoku's theme in the background, and it's just,
Set your heart ablaze!
6. But that's not the only thing they have in common. Both in the intro and the outro, we see a lot of Rengoku's background and the people he cares about. A little resemblance of what the outro of the first season shows us about Tanjiro. 7. Muzan appears in a close shot in all the openings, where his red eyes stand out. 8. Speaking of red eyes and pale faces, don't you think that Rengoku's mother looks a little similar to the Demon King? I don't think she's related to Muzan in any way, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. 9. Remember this part? If you watch closely, you'll notice Tanjiro pinned Daki's obi sashes with the blades towards him. With physics from the real world, that could have probably torn her sashes with the sharp side of the blade, letting Daki escape. So maybe it wasn't the best idea, but it ended up working, so who cares? 10. After Daki shows zero regrets over killing the innocent people in episode 6, Tanjiro faces her absolutely enraged, asking how is it possible that she doesn't feel an ounce of respect for human life. This reaction triggers some of Muzan's memories in Daki about a man who seemed to say the same thing to the Demon King. The man who appears in the memory has his eyes pitch white while talking. But did you notice that Tanjiro's eyes also look like that after we see the memory? 11. When Yutaro insults Tanjiro for how pathetic he thinks he is after being the one who survived the attack, he uses the exact same insults people used to tell him when he was human.
Sad sack, coward, good for nothing. Why was trash like you even born to begin with? Worm, moron, cretin, coward, good for nothing, dead weight.
12. After all, their stories are not that different from each other, and we can see that reflected in their character design too. They're both big brothers with predominantly green colors, doing their best to protect their little sister with predominantly pink colors. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more Easter eggs, character backstories, rankings, and so much more. We upload weekly Demon Slayer content that you won't want to miss. 13. When Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke meet the Flame Hashira in the Mugen Train arc movie, they find him eating, saying "umai" every time he takes a bite.
Umai. Umai.
We hear him saying it a lot more before they meet in the anime version. But he doesn't say it just because he likes everything he eats. Like, I'm sure it was indeed tasty, but for most of us we were a little confused by this. Well, at the end of the day, Rengoku is a fighter, a warrior, and in this time period, warriors were taught to appreciate and savor every bite of their food since it could be their last. And, well, I think you already know what this was then. 14. When Daki's hair turns white, I couldn't help but remember Rui. But wait, Rui's hair was black when he was a human, and turned white when he became a demon, while Daki already had white hair when she was a human. So why, when she is not in her full power mode, does she have it black, and then turns back again into white? It's just something I wonder about every once in a while. 15. We know that the Oiran used to wear these swanky traditional dresses, but Daki's outfit has something quite unique. Do you see this part right here? Doesn't it look familiar? Yes, these are the sashes Daki makes out of her own flesh. I don't know about you, but I find that quite disturbing. 16. There are a bunch of people repeated in this scene from episode 2 of the Entertainment District arc, but honestly, I don't blame them. I would have done the same to fill up a street with people who don't matter to the story. 17. In the video about things you missed in the first season, I talked about the meaning of the red spider lily in Japanese culture. Well, look what I found in the ending of the Mugen Train arc anime. Someone has to speak with whoever plans the endings, because these death references of characters are getting too on the nose. 18. Now, a lot of characters appear in the backgrounds of the Entertainment District arc opening. For each boy, we see the respective managers of their houses in the back. In Tanjiro's section, we recognize the man who started yelling at Tanjiro and Daki because they were making too much noise. And in Inosuke's, we see the client he hits while trying to catch Daki's obi sashes. 19. These two buff guys also appear running in the ceiling with Inosuke. 20. Now, the ending of this arc follows a pattern of showing part of the backstory and motivation of the major supporting character in the arc, in this case Tengen's. So first, we see him with his brother, then his hands full of blood, and right after that, Tengen is shown with Kaguya, which I see as him joining either the Hashira or just the Demon Slayer Corps. But this is the first one in which we don't see anything about Tanjiro's family. 21. When I think of Muzan as a kid, I always have this image in mind. I completely had forgotten that his complete disguise comes with no pupil, lavender-ish colored eyes, which, if you ask me, are very Tamayo-like. But, okay. And despite that, in his illustration for the transition, his eyes are red. 22. Tengen wasn't only slaying demons in the Taisho era, but also his avant-garde style. Despite not living in the most woke age, he wore makeup and nail polish in his daily life, absolutely fitting with his flamboyant personality. 23. Speaking of makeup, I thought that after they cleaned Inosuke's face, he was the only one of the three who wasn't wearing any makeup after that. But look who's been wearing lipstick all along. Had you noticed any of these things before? Let me know about other details and Easter eggs you know of in the comments section. If you liked this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe if you want to see more Demon Slayer content. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you the next time.